on the Kiwi.
A little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt.
Sam Hunt joins us this morning once again. Good morning, Sam.
Good day, Wammo.
Did you like a bit of Pig Out?
What's this now? What's this?
That was the track that was just playing before.
Oh, no, I'm going to do what I'm doing. Sorry, I missed that.
Oh, you wandered off.
I'm looking out west at the moment into a big wild west sky on the Kaipara, and this huge rainbow, like every colour, a rainbow that's got all its colours blazing.
Oh, great, because you need some of that water to fill the tanks, don't you?
Yeah, well, it's not so much raining at all it is, but the great thing is that it suddenly occurred to me as I looked out, looking west, and see this perfect rainbow. Suddenly I thought, oh, of course, it's the equinox.
Oh, is it?
This is the Ides of March. Beware the Ides of March.
Yeah, the stabby wabbies.
Excuse me. And that's right. So that's where we are at the moment, and I love this time of year. I remember when I was very young writing a poem, it had some pretty smart-ass title. What was it called? I'm not going to say it or anything, but it was called Invocation and Equinox. I was on a boat off Great Barrier Island for about a week on my own, looking after this boat when I was about 20, just for a week or something.
Wow.
And a great time, had a great week, I remember that. But anyway, during that was the equinox. I remember during that week I wrote that poem on a boat called Tierra Moana, which of course means flower of the sea. And it was a flower of the sea, that boat, a great big keeler.
Were you all alone on that boat?
I was all alone, Wammo. I was all alone on that boat writing a poem called Invocation and Equinox.
Yeah. Good time. Well, it is a really nice time of the year.
I think it's bloody magic. I was taking out my young one to the school bus this morning, and it was just happening all around as we drove the truck along this metal road. There's the backbone of this peninsula we're on, looking out both sides, and this wild. I said to Alf, look out to the east, out to the to the Brindurwins and the rising sun, the one that was causing the rainbows in the west, and just amazing. And he said, is that rain? Was that rain from a distance? I said, that's rain from a distance, caught by the sun.
Yeah.
It's a bit like a good poem. And speaking of, he said, segueing in so gently into the subject of poetry.
Yeah.
One apology before I go any further. It's been a bit blokey lately. There's been all bloke poems, and I'm going to change that. It's not an anti-woman thing, I assure you, on my part. It's just that it happens that the last few poets that have been knocking me over.
Are you about to bring out your feminine side?
Well, as you know, many a great woman poet I've enjoyed on this, and it will continue. No, this one is very much a bloke. In fact, he sticks out like an oar because his name's Bob Orr. And do you know have you come across Bob's poems?
No, I haven't.
Well, Bob is and has been for many decades now. He's a skipper on one of the tugboats in the Waitemata Harbour. When he was young, the story as I sort of understand it roughly is that when he was young, he was coming up from the Waikato where he grew up.
Yeah.
He was born in 1949, so he's 3 years younger than me. Anyway, I always loved his poems, but I've only just really rediscovered them. They've just come back at me. Anyway, he was driving up to, as I understand the story, he was going up basically to enroll at the university and study English and probably have poetry scared out of them. Anyway, he saw a job advertised on the tugboats on the Daldy, and he didn't go to university. He became a tugboat master.
Huh.
And he's a great poet. And he actually, I'll show you a little one here. I think it's quite a new one. It's one that he wrote called Kiwi, which, as some people will know, is in the Waikato, little Waikato town. And that's one of the places where his parents obviously had a farm.
Sounds like the name of a boat as well, Kiwi.
Kiwi, one single Kiwi, yeah, Kiwi. This is a great little poem. It actually made me think of Springsteen's song Highway 29. I don't know if you know that one on the Tom Joad album. Yeah, beautiful song.
Yeah.
Well, this is a beautiful poem, Kiwi. When the evening freight train thundered by as the stars were gathering in the sky, A boy could only guess its load, radiata logs or Huntley coal, the rough sawn timber of the soul, coming from who knows how far around the hill where the world begins, the freight train like a wayward star heading straight toward the farm, then veering off around a bend, the guard's wagon vanishing, as my grandmother knitted on mile after mile of woolen yarn. I'll never go back, not in this lifetime, not even by State Highway 29. I love that.
No, I like that.
That's a song. Yeah, he's great. He's published numerous books over the years. I think one of his early ones, because he was, as I say, 3 years younger than me. So I remember when I was first sort of publishing poems and all that stuff, keeping clear of the literary scene generally, but now and again colliding. It's like at the Kiwi Hotel, maybe on a Friday night, or at shows sometimes. There'll be very much the people who wrote poems almost as a sort of almost like a prerequisite or a requisite for their degree in English. I never really believed their poems. They were often quite clever poems, and even moving because they were so clever, but they never really moved me anyway. And it's just my reaction, which may have been a bit of a peasant one, but that was my reaction because they didn't have their own life. Now, Bob Orr stuck out, like I said before, like an oar, because he was, his poems came from listen to this one, a little short one of Bob Orr's called My Father's Bomber Jacket. My father's bomber jacket still hangs on, a peg beside a squadron photo. Once I tried it on, but found it was far too small. After all, when he wore it, he was not much more than a boy in his tin machine with his instruments and weapons, alone and far from land, way out above the Pacific, as the waves beneath moved like cards being shuffled.
Wow.
That's good, isn't it?
So his father was a pilot.
Yeah, I don't know but he was definitely he was in the war in the Pacific, and just so great to discover, or rediscover. Some of his early volumes. I was going to say before that in 1971, Bob published. I don't know Bob well. I don't know, I shouldn't be calling him Bob, I suppose, but I'm sure he won't mind.
So potentially, Mr. Orr is out on the Waitemata now, tugging around.
He'd be out there tugging around.
Well,
What do you do all day? I just tug around. Yeah, that's quite good. His first volume, I remember that one. I've got it somewhere. I wish I'd been looking for it, but I couldn't find it. But thanks to the computer, I've been able to get hold of these poems. But his first volume was called Blue Footpaths. And then in the late 70s, he's got a book called Poems for Moira. And he's got lovely lines. Just listen to this image. A man in a crane gently moved a cloud across the sky. A man in a crane gently moved a cloud across the sky. Lovely poem. If I had time, which I don't have today, but there's a great songs, there are a lot of good poems. If anyone who's interested in his stuff, in Bob Orr's stuff, it's he's in Unity Bookshop and places like that. Not doing a commercial, but thought I'd mention it.
Well, why not? Yeah, people want to get hold of the stuff. They do.
Oh yeah. And also it's on. As I said, it's on the computer, which I never thought I'd ever be saying.
Yeah.
Speaking of somebody who died before, it was a contemporary of mine. I've just been looking at his work again. He's a photographer, Robin Morrison. Robin Morrison, who did great books like From the Road, South Island from the Road, and great photographer. And he died very, I think Robin must have. He lived in Ponsonby. His family still do. The lovely people. I haven't seen them for many years, but Robin died of cancer. Great. And in his last months, he went for a journey on his own with his black and white, his old old camera that he had, with which he had taken some of the greatest photographs that have certainly been ever taken in this country or anywhere else.
Yeah.
And he went round the north, and he did a book which I've got a copy of here, which is just stunning, called A Journey. And it's mainly photographs, big book. I won't use the word coffee table because I don't think of it with coffee tables. This is a sort of book you'd take down the back of the farm, I think. or take somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, wonderful book. It's mainly headstones, old married churches, old Ratana churches. There's one photograph, in fact, a few photographs of a Ratana church near where I live here, not that far away. And it's a real lonesome photographs. And I love something which Robin said at the end of that book. He said that, he spoke of New Zealand, and he said, "This is my country." He said, "Exploring it visually is my life's work. I have no other country and no other task."
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I have no other country and no other task. You know, just recently I was been invited later this year to go over to New York. I'm thinking for 3 days, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm just not interested. You know, I live here. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to pave it. It'd be different if I was 23 rather than 63, I guess. But even then, I didn't ever think in terms of careers. I think in terms of the next